Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Negler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday. It is the day before a football game on a Friday, which is weird. But the Packers play tomorrow at noon at Lambeau, taking on the Seahawks for the final preseason contest of 2023. The offensive starters, most likely with the exception of David Bakhtiari, will be out there. Going to be exciting to see them execute at a high level for a few series before giving way to backups and guys fighting for roster spots, undoubtedly. And then the cutdowns begin. Monday is the day where we will get the news reported about the initial 53. I'm sure the Packers will announce it the day before the Chicago game. But exciting times around the Green Bay Packers. Hope you guys are doing something fun this weekend. Going to be in a good spot with family, friends, where have you, whatever, watching the green and gold. I will be here at Shea Nagler watching it. I'd like to say with my girls, but I know it will be on, and I will be enjoying it, but they have zero interest. So I'm sure they will filter in and out as the afternoon goes on. Patreon members, Carry the G Club members, we will once again have our preseason hangout where you guys can hang out together and watch the game. I will not be in attendance, neither will Corey, but the last two seem to have been pretty popular, so we're going to do that again. You guys can hang out, have fun. I will be doing a post-game chat after the game is over, so be on the lookout for that here on the YouTube channel and other social media environs. Hope you're all doing well. Good to see everybody mixing it up already. Let me give a quick shout-out to our good friends over at Ticket King, people. If you want to see the Green Bay Packers, hell, maybe you're in the area and you want to check out the game tomorrow, Ticket King's got you covered. Go to Ticket King, people. Hell, go to Cheesehead TV, either our website or our app. Go to the schedule. You'll find individualized links for each and every game, preseason, like tomorrow, or any regular season game, home or away. Don't use Ticketmaster. Don't use StubHub or SeatGeek. Use a company based in Wisconsin since the early 90s. Hell, they've got a spot right across from Lambeau Field on Oneida Street. Or you can just use the link in the description of this video. However you do it, use Ticket King, people. Get your Green Bay Packers tickets at Ticket King. You know you want to do it. The other thing you want to do is watch Rasheed Walker tomorrow. I mean, what a story. This kid has absolutely taken every opportunity and risen to the occasion and seems to be on the precipice of maybe, possibly cracking the starting lineup at right tackle. That's where he lined up at one point yesterday, and I am fascinated to see if he's out there tomorrow with the starters, with Zach Tom possibly playing center, which is the combination we saw yesterday at practice. So the Rasheed Walker, I was looking back. The very first day the pads came on and they had their very first set of one-on-ones, I tweeted out, Rasheed Walker looks good? Because it was a bit of a surprise for a kid who literally played 4 special team snaps last year. That's it. Down in Miami on Christmas Day, he played 4 snaps on special teams. Otherwise, he never saw the field. He was a healthy scratch for a good part of the year. He was active for some games, but never saw the field. And to go from a guy who looked, I'm not going to say lost last offseason when we saw him in training camp, but certainly a little bit overwhelmed, to the form and just the development improvement we've seen throughout this summer, and he's seemingly getting better every time he's out there. I mean, shout out to the Nittany Lion Project, who's out here battling and getting better and putting another feather in the cap of the Green Bay Packers development department, so to speak, whether it's the college scouting that identifies these guys or the patience of a general manager who obviously sticks with him through basically a redshirt year, to the coaches who seemingly are continuing to do a great job taking these young prospects and kind of helping them grow. The Packers seem to know what the hell they're doing when it comes to the offensive line. And I hear the snide remarks already. There's other areas of concern. I get that. But when it comes to the offensive line, they seemingly have it down. And Walker is just another example. Obviously, don't want to belittle or dismiss the work the young man himself has done. You guys have heard me talk a million times here on Packers Daily about that proverbial jump from year 1 to year 2 and the fact that it is almost always down to the individual, to the player himself doing the work in the offseason. And it sure looks like Rasheed did the work. And now he's taken the test, and it looks like he's acing it. So excited to see how much playing time he gets tomorrow. And obviously which unit he's with. Hello to everybody in the comments section. So good to see you. Everybody mixing it up. Bud, what's up, Bud Binner? What a name. Patrick's here. Hey, Patrick. Miss you on the happy hours. Good to see you around, buddy. Thanks for being a Carry the G Club member. Patrick says the Bears still sucks. I mean, truer words were never spoken. A apt description of the world right there. Abdul, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Aaron, any thoughts on the Trey Lance situation? Crazy they'd give up on him after he's played 8 games when they've given up so much to get him. I mean, it's clear they're thinking, it's sunk costs at this point. The injury really, really messed up the entire kind of, I think, plan with him. It is fascinating, though, to watch Sam Darnold come in there and win the backup job. I just hope he's able to go somewhere and get a clean slate because he's barely played. That's the other thing. What is he? I saw something on Twitter the other day, and of course, who knows how accurate this is, but I do get the sense that this is hovering around accurate. He's thrown 500 passes in his entire football career, going back to high school, in a game. Seems a little crazy to me, but that's how raw he is and young, and still. I mean, I understand when the 49ers took him, they saw potential and they're looking forward, and I get that. The amount they traded up to get him, though, is just insane to me. You talk about sunk costs. But who knows, man? Shanahan's such a good coach on offense. He can make do with whatever they put back there, as long as it's not the water boy like in the NFC Championship. But yeah. It's an interesting situation. I'm just fascinated to see where he ends up. And I know I've seen a number of people kind of pinpointing Minnesota as a potential landing spot. I don't really think that makes a world of sense, but we'll see. Brandon, thanks for the super chat. With Steven Jenkins hurt, Chicago needs tackle depth. Green Bay needs tight end depth. Davis hurt. Gosh, for Big Dog, who says no? I think you mean Yash. Who says no? Everybody involved, Brandon. That is, as the good, great, late Ted Thompson said, this isn't fantasy football. Soder, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. Emergence of Ford, make them carry 6D defensive line. It's possible. The numbers are going to be interesting. Like Brian always says, the big puzzle piece that you got to put together. If you go heavy somewhere, you're probably going a little lighter someplace else. And I think that is the kind of potential for, no running backs to be kept behind AJ and Aaron so they can do something like that. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion when it comes to Ford, but he's certainly made a case for himself. There's no doubt about it. And if it was 6 on the initial 53, wouldn't be surprised. But there's a reason we call it the initial 53, because we know injuries happen, acquisitions happen, guys come up and down all the time. Who knows what that means long term for that position, but I think there's a chance, definitely, for the initial 53. What's up? Carter says, Yash for Big Dog? Hell no. Yeah, exactly. Good Life Designs is asking if prices will drop for tickets closer to game day. He wants to go to the Rams game. Depends how they're doing. Traditionally, though, the Rams game, that should be affordable by the time the game rolls around. But, yeah, it generally can, dependent on how the season's going. I know last year things really took a dip during the 5-game losing streak, other than the Dallas game. The Dallas game was still nuts. But yeah, I would, if that's too steep for you, I would definitely hold off. But that's not a terrible price, actually. I'm going to make this the year of the kettle. New York Cheesehead, you going to a kettle of fish? Tell Patrick I say hello. Too old for this. Any update on the non-alcoholic beer called Bury the G? No, but that does give me a good opportunity to mention that Carry the G is out in a very limited capacity in the Milwaukee area. Make sure you check out cheeseheadtv.com on the tab that says beer. You'll see the spots where it's available. One spot that's not listed that just landed this morning is Scout Wine Merchants there in Shorewood. If you're in that area, you can find yourself some Carry the G there. And like I said, a few other places in the Milwaukee area. It will be rolling out statewide here in the next 2 weeks. We will have a major, official announcement when that happens. It's very, 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 very close. But exciting times. Get your carry the G. Get ready for another Packers season. It's going to be a lot of fun. Jim, thanks for the super chat. I still have scars from when they let Wall and Rivera walk, and it took years to solidify the line. Glad to see we have depth. Yeah, it was fun. Someone mentioned that. I made a post on Twitter because someone asked, like, what's a financial decision that your favorite team, a bad financial decision that your favorite team made? And I mentioned Mike Sherman signing Joe Johnson. And someone equated it to Ted, moving on from Wall and Rivera and replacing them with Adrian Clem and that ilk. And I'm like, that was very, very, very different. And I think, Jim, to your point, the Packers realize and understand that the best way to build your offensive line is to grow your offensive line. Longtime viewers know I talk about this all the time. Solving things via free agency can be a quick fix, can be a panacea, but it very rarely helps you long term in regards to solidifying and finding a line that works well together and there's cohesion and a line that can develop together. And the Packers have clearly done a great job over the course of the last decade plus of being able to identify guys and grow their line from within rather than having to spend free agency dollars on it. When Ted did that back in the day, he was just resetting the salary cap mess that Sherman had left him. That's the biggest reason there. Starred. Well, we got here. Oh, my goodness. We got Andrew. Thanks for the super chat. Hey, now, Bobby Boucher could have played QB. It's a fair assessment, Andrew. Fair assessment. Mario. Thanks for coming on board and becoming a Carry the G Club member. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Hope to see you on Happy Hour. And watch parties are going to start in a couple weeks. And Carry the G Club members, you guys get priority. You can chat about whatever the hell you want. Get your stuff read on the stream. Get the special emojis featuring Corey and myself. It's a good time. It's a good time here on YouTube for those watch parties. Abdul, thanks again, buddy. Who are your picks for starting safety? It doesn't really matter what I pick. I think it's pretty clear that Savage and Ford are going to be your opening day starters. We'll see who's out there tomorrow and what happens with the 53-man roster on Monday/Tuesday. But it seems pretty apparent that that's going to be your starting duo. Jonathan, thanks for the super chat. No reflection on Andrew's performance. Mason Crosby won Twitter yesterday. That was a great tweet. For those of you who maybe aren't on Twitter/X, Mason Crosby had mentioned, quoted Dion talking about he's right here, and he had a video of himself splitting the uprights and getting ready for football season, so to speak. So yeah, it was interesting juxtaposition with practice reports, and Carlson started well, but then missed a few, and then there's Mason tweeting, and whew, baby, good times, good times. What else we got here, folks? John, what's up? Thanks for the super chat. Can you endorse bootlegging of Carry the G to Indy? John, I would never, ever, ever tell anybody, anywhere, Packers fans carry the G symbolically in their hearts, meaning they don't break the law. There's no bootlegging of Carry the G. I would never, ever, ever tell anybody to find some Carry the G in Wisconsin and bring it to their friends in another state. I would never, ever, ever endorse that. Abdul, thanks, buddy. I think camp surprises are obvious, but who are camp disappointments? Also, you skipped Carter's super chat. I'm getting to it. Abdul, I don't need you to direct me. Also, thank you. Who are camp disappointments? Abdul can't leave the chat until he gets one negative comment out of me. I like it. Disappointments. Jonathan Owens, I think, is a bit of a disappointment. I think he has not delivered on what the Packers would have hoped to see out of him, kind of ascending out of Houston into a full-time starter role in Green Bay. Got to think that was hopefully the idea, and he certainly hasn't stepped up to that challenge. I'm not saying he's going to get cut or anything, but they probably are not getting out of, or have not gotten out of him so far what they had hoped to. That would be my initial. Carter. You can thank Abdul. Are we keeping 6 edge? I would hate to cut one. This is the puzzle, right? I do think it's a possibility, but I also think everyone's enamored with Brenton Cox for good reason, but I think he has practice squad written all over him, most likely. And I know everyone gets worried that he's going to get poached or whatever, but I don't see another team making a spot on their 53-man roster, which is what they would have to do, just because of a couple preseason games worth of tape that the entire league passed on the kid back in April. And yeah, he's had a good camp, but I still think he'd sail through to the practice squad, and I think there's a decent chance that happens. What else we got here? Evan, thanks for the super chat. Start, bench, cut. Spotted Cow, carry the G. Dales. Oh, why? See, this is no. I start them all. It's a 3-man basketball team, and they're all starters. How's that? I ain't benching or cutting any of those. You asked me to bench my children. Good Lord. What else we got here, folks? Green Ranger, what's up? My hubby told me once that I could not direct him. Brandy, see? Brandy's hubby, whose name I literally cannot remember. And now, every time we're on happy hour, and because he tells me, just say Brandy's hubby, because you guys just have the Brandy name on your Zoom. So it's always Brandy's hubby. I literally don't know the man's name. It's just Brandy's hubby. I love it. Nags, does someone released with an injury settlement have access to the team, and are these guys jaded? I mean, the jaded part, I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But as far as access to the team, they do once they revert back to injured reserve, which is what happens unless they reach an injury settlement. A lot of times you'll see it reported where so-and-so was released injured after reaching a settlement with the team, blah, 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 and that means they're free to go and be a free agent, essentially. But more often than, well, I won't say more often than not, but sometimes guys are released with an injury designation. If they make it through waivers, which they do because they're injured, then they revert back to the Packers' injured reserve list. And then sometimes you'll see them eventually get cut with an injury settlement anyway. But for the initial kind of the workings of it, that's how it happens. And, resentment, I don't think so. I mean, they know it's a business. I mean, maybe somebody was, close to making the team and then gets injured in the third preseason game, and that can be a bit rough. But I think they're more upset with the universe than they are the Packers at that point, Levi, thanks for the super chat. Am I crazy to think we will have one of the best/deepest D lines in the league? Go Pack, go. I love your optimism here, and I'm all for it. But can we let some of these young guys play in a game that matters first before we start talking about how deep the defensive line is? You guys know, man, I'm all excited about the defense, but I don't believe in any of it until I see it. This year, I was too amped up last season and got completely blindsided in week 1, and then for pretty much the first half of the season with how poor they were at times. So, man, sure, yes. Could they be? Absolutely. I need to see it. That's just me. Your mileage may vary, but that's how I'm worried. Barry has to play more than one down lineman. Ben, watch Barry be like, "Oh yeah, you want to bet?" And he plays one for for a whole series. Guys, I don't want to miss any super chats. Oh my goodness. Brody, thanks for the super chat, man. Is Walker possibly the long-term starter at right tackle? It feels early to say that, but maybe. Who knows, man? Mark Tauscher was a stalwart there at right tackle for a long, long time, and he was a former 7th-round pick, You never know. I think, again, it feels a little early to say, but the potential's there. Sure. Spencer, thanks for the super chat, man. Outside of not being sexy, why do you think a lack of focus on the offensive line is so prevalent in the league? Insert Penny Sewell, Jamar Chase meme. Yeah, it's interesting because everyone pays lip service to the idea of the importance of the offensive line, but so few people kind of follow that up with their actions. I do think some teams are just better at it than others when it comes to identifying the talent and coaching it up and, allowing it to kind of grow. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think some of it is ownership. If you're a owner and you want to sell seats or you want to sell merch or you want to be number one in something else other than the standings, maybe you're leaning on your GM that, the GM wants to take the unsexy guy, some corn-fed Midwestern offensive lineman, and you're owner is like, nope, I will need that flashy wide receiver. Or I got to have that skill position guy. Got to have it. I'm not. There's no particular instance I'm talking about here. I'm just saying, hypothetically, um, I think there's various kind of elements at work in all 32 franchises, and I mean, God bless the Green Bay Packers for being as good as they are in that regard, because we all know. Look, last year, you don't have to go any further than the two Super Bowl teams and how cohesive their offensive lines were all year long. I can't remember if it was Football Outsiders or PFF, but somebody put together a metric / listing of, offensive line was with the least amount of games and snaps lost due to injury. And oh, what a shock. Both the Eagles and the Chiefs were at the top. They were 1 and 2. It's no mystery. You cannot operate on offense if you're completely kind of, juggling things up front. Look no further than the Packers last year. How hard was it to watch them play offense through the first 5-6 games until they finally got Bakhtiari and Jenkins in their proper spots? Zach Tom kind of emerged, and then they set their offensive line, and then, lo and behold, they could at least operate on offense. And I'm not saying they took off or anything like that, but it's so important. But to your point, so few teams really emphasize it the way they probably should. And I do think some of it is offenses being so different, and what those guys are asked to do is so different now than it was even 10 years ago. So I think there's a bit of a adjustment there. The talent pool is so different now. So, yeah, again, there's just a lot of things happening there. Oh, Joe. Does Simone Biles guarantee Owens a roster spot? No. No, she does not. Love her. Love that she's around. Love seeing her in Packers gear on the sideline. But no, not at all. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Will you and Corey have a watch party tomorrow? No, Dustin, we will not. No preseason watch parties, but Care of the G Club members and Patreon members will be in our weekly Zoom hangout, hanging out, mucking it up, watching the game together. I will be doing a post-game chat, but no watch party. Watch parties will begin week 1 when the Packers take on the Bears. Spencer, thanks for the super chat. If you could steal the mentality of one team / position group, who are you choosing? 49ers D-line? I knew you were going Niners on this. Maybe, or the Jets front, the defensive front. You know what I'd love? You talk about a mentality. I want Salah's mentality when it comes to what he said after the Packers game last year, knowing that the Packers couldn't handle being taken and dragged into deep water. That kind of soundbite was so awesome. And that's the mentality, I want for my defense. I don't know if we really got it right now in Green Bay, but that's what you talk about, taking a mentality from another team and inserting it, injecting it into the veins of the Green Bay Packers. That's what I want. We'll see. All right, everybody, I got to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out and talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I'll see you here right afterwards for my chat to kind of wrap up the preseason and get ready for week 1 against the Bears. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great night. Go Pack Go.